What if I told you that the way we have been brought up to pay off our loans is completely wrong and is actually better for the banks than it is for us? Today, we're going to be getting rid of a gargantuan loan with a gargantuan interest rate in record time. And let me tell you something. It doesn't matter if your credit score is high or if your credit score is low. We're going to show you how even if your credit score is in the 500s, you can pay off your house much faster with someone with a credit score of 800. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so remember, when it comes to velocity banking, we want to establish 4 pillars. Okay, this is part of the framework for velocity banking, and that is we've got to diagnose the drain. Which loan is sucking the cash flow the fastest and the most inefficient loan that we have? We first got to diagnose that. Then we go into redirecting our cash flow. This is a tenet in the velocity banking principle, as well as, let's keep on going, right? When we redirect our cash flow, we also, after that, need to optimize the velocity banking system. And last, we push the gap. We're actually going to explain how we do that. Now, with this loan, we have a $400,000 loan, not at 7%, not at 8%, but at a whopping 10%. Now remember, this is amortized, and yes, it does not look like it's real, okay? Because it isn't. But I want to show you the power of velocity banking, not with an interest rate of, 7.35%, 8%, but with an interest rate that is much higher than that at 10%. Why am I doing that? To show you that interest rate does not matter. And we're going to show you by the numbers. All right. So first of all, this person, all they have is the mortgage. So at this present time, they want to go ahead and get rid of it the fastest way possible. But if they had a car loan, if they had a student loan and other loans, we would actually place those loans inside of what is called a CFI, or a cash flow indicator. Meaning we would take the principal balance and divide that by the minimum monthly payment. Now, with the mortgages, that's going to be 100 and above on most mortgages. All right. With car loans, those are the ones that usually fall between 0 and 50. That means they're danger zone loans. And you even have some that are between 51 to 99. That's going to be the caution zone, meaning you can restructure, you can refinance, you can even ask for a lower interest rate. But if it's a 100 and above, then that's the freedom zone. We don't need to pay those off as quickly as we do the inefficient loans, okay? But this person does not have that problem of all the inefficient loans. They got a pretty efficient loan here because it is above the 100, but listen, it's 10%. Okay, so let's go ahead and share with you how we're going to pay this off really, really fast. Now, first of all, this number here, I want you to really realize what that number represents. A lot of people think that, yes, I'm paying $3,510 each month and it's going towards the principal. Well, you're partly right, okay? However, in the beginning, 80% of this minimum payment here, okay, you got to pay the $3,510 each and every month if you want to stay in the home. Okay, 80% of this, though, is going towards interest. That's the part we are going to cut out. Okay, we're going to cut it out very efficiently. Go ahead and comment below and let me know if you've ever heard of a concept called velocity banking. All right, velocity banking, $3,510 each month. That's split up. 80%, about 80% is going towards interest. Of course, the 20% is going towards the principal. That is exactly the way the banks like it. I'm going to show you the numbers right now. Now, I know some may be tempted to say, well, you know, I don't have a mortgage of $400,000. Listen, the numbers don't matter. It doesn't matter if this is 400, 500,000, 20,000, 40,000. What matters is the principle you're going to learn. All right. And the principle is this: they're taking your money and we have to reverse it. All right. $3,333 going towards the interest. $177 going towards the principal. That's why people are in 30 and 40-year mortgages. That's the way they've engineered it. Do you want to change that scenario? Do you want to pay this off much quicker than what the banks are saying to pay it off with? All right, let's go ahead and introduce to you a line of credit. See, you're sitting on it already. You're sitting on your line of credit, whether it's 10, 20,000 or whether it's 5,000. You're sitting on a line of credit. It's doing nothing when money should always be doing something. Can I get somebody to please put that in the comments below? Your money should always be doing something. You should be getting paid daily instead of just monthly. Your money needs to do something always. We never want stagnant water because we don't want crocodiles or alligators. Okay, now listen to this. $10,000, right? We have that already. And yes, it is at an interest rate of 21%. But do you know why we want to use that $10,000 at 21%? Because this 21% is actually lower than this 10%. In the same reason, right, that Fahrenheit is different than Celsius, right? Because of the way it's calculated, all right? So what you want to do is you want to take the $10,000 in your line of credit and you want to switch it out. This is what's happening here, okay? Let me go ahead and draw these arrows, right? What's happening is called an interest transfer, okay? That's what's happening here. Interest is being transferred, meaning this $10,000 at 10% amortized is now becoming $10,000 at 21% simple interest. All right. And we're going to share with you the results of doing that on a yearly basis. So as you are placing that $10,000 towards that loan, 400,000 minus 10,000 is what? 390,000. Now the 10% is eating on the 390,000, not the 400,000, which means what? This number is going way down. All right. And so now you're not paying as much interest as you would as if you were continuing on with the traditional bank's plan of paying $3,510 each and every month and just letting them bank all that interest. Now, let's just say you didn't do the $10,000 every 6 months like usually we do. Let's say you did this the $10,000 every year, right? Okay, not that it took you that long to pay it off, but what if it does, right? Let's say you did it every year, dropped $10,000 and you paid it off every year. You dropped that amount. Do you know how long you would be in that mortgage? Let me tell you, it wouldn't be 30 years. It wouldn't even be 20 years. All right. Let's go ahead and share with you what this person would be making. All right. Right. We're talking about someone with an income of $5,000. Okay. The expenses is $4,000. Right. And then the cash flow is $1,000. CJ, how did you get that? Well, I minus E equals C, meaning 5,000 minus 4,000 equals 1,000. That is what is paying down that line of credit because they are using their line of credit as their new checking account. Does that make sense? So if you're using your new line of credit as your checking account, let's say the cash flow is $1,000, you're paying it off every 10 months, right? And of course, if your cash flow is higher, then you would be, let's say it's 2,000, you would be paying it off at what? That's right, every 5 months, because 10,000 divided by 2,000 is 5. Do you understand? Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's say every year, you're deploying the $10,000. Of course, that $1,000 is staying behind, so you're paying off that line of credit in 10 months. You're done with it. and now you want to deploy it again. That's what the line of credit is for, all right? So you're going to be deploying it towards here. How long are you going to stay in that $400,000 loan, making $5,000? I want you to see this. Do you see it? Comment below. Do you see it? All right? And you have the $4,000 in expenses, right? Now, yours may be a little bit more, all right? But come with me on this journey because I want you to get the principle here, okay? Let's use our cash flow. If we're looking at the cash flow of $1,000, we're paying it off at 10 months. We'll be out of this loan in 14 years and 3 months. Now, I want to share with you what you would be paying with the traditional banking and what you're now paying with velocity banking. Let's get into it. All right, so I just want you to know that you can actually combine the velocity banking method with the biweekly schedule as well, and it would work out even better for you. However, for just this scenario, we're using the line of credit. I want to share with you what happened when we do that. First of all, if you're used to traditional banking and you want to go that route, you'll be in it for 30 years and you'll pay a total of $863 just in interest. So that's over $1 million. That's $863,000 that you did not have to give away to a complete stranger. And oh, by the way, they've taken 30 years of your life. Okay, 30 years and $863,000. Now, let's go over here. How much would you be paying with velocity banking? $348,357 in interest. And oh, by the way, you're getting back one of the most precious commodities that you could ever get back, and that is time, because you're out of this loan in 14 years and 3 months. Now, I want you to take a screenshot of this so that you can see it. Folks, all you are doing is you are interest transferring, which leads to a time collapse transaction. Now, some bankers have caught on to what that actually means and some haven't, because as soon as you drop an extra payment, you are time collapsing the transaction, meaning you are going into the future and you're going to be paying ahead of schedule. All right. So this $10,000 that you're dropping yearly, that's why you're out in 14 years. Now, can you deploy more frequently? Yes. And as you deploy more frequently, the more you'll save in interest. Does that make sense? Because you are collapsing the principal. Remember what actually matters when you're paying down loans. It's balance and timing. That's what actually matters. See, this interest rate here, I mean, you're making $5,000, maybe $6,000 a month. While the banks are like, no, you don't make enough, right? You don't make enough to have a $400,000 house. What? It's only because they only do the debt to income and they don't factor in living debt to income, which does not factor in gross income. It factors what you're actually making. All right. See, we're turning the banking world on its head by simply using the tools that they're using against us, but we're actually using it for us. Now, those of us who have the Money Max account, we already know that we can plug this in to the software and it actually gives us a whole plan day by day, date by date. I like that. And how much, right, to transfer to certain accounts so that we can pay down the loans much quicker. I love that as well. So if you need help with that, just let me know. But this $400,000 is not a big deal, guys. All right. So stop thinking that You'll never attain to a $500,000 house, or you'll never attain to this, that, and the other. We just paid it off in 14 years without sweat off of our backs or worrying, right? Or even deploying gargantuan sums of money, right? Because you don't need to once you know the strategy and the tactics. All right. So folks, if you are having trouble with velocity banking, we have so many videos right here that you, like this one right here, actually, that you can go ahead and look at. So we appreciate you, and we will see you in another video. God bless you.